sort of compilation of the recent sort of fiddling around with cameras and some footage of the same. This one is the actual bike mounted camera, which is the Innov K2, somewhat old now, but it's a simple fit and forget system, and I do tend to forget it. I don't tend to pull the footage off very often, but on this occasion I had. As you'll see, it's bolted to the fairing on the near side, so it may get a little bit of vibration off there, I'm not sure. Obviously not stabilised, but it seems to do what a dash cam type thing would do. I think I cobbled these together, which is a bit of a faff because obviously it does it in 2, 3 or maybe 5 minute segments, and the footage isn't really that grand, but it's suitable for what it is. It also has a camera on the rear which gives exactly the same sort of footage, but obviously rearward facing, and it's one of those things that once I fitted it I was pleased I had it, sort of thing. And it does tend to sort of give you a little bit of reassurance, although as I say, when I say fit and forget, I do tend to forget I've got it, and even in the odd occasion when something a bit lively happens, I may sort of say, oh, well, I wish I'd have had the camera on the bike, and not realising that of course I have got the camera on the bike. So yeah, as a dash cam it's fine. I think the new improved one is obviously much better, but of course that's the nature of improvements, isn't it? The one thing I would say about this is the sound quality is pretty awful. It's under the seat and it gets a terrible but, that's not what I use it for. So here we go on to the Drift Ghost XL next. This is sort of go-to camera I use, sort of head camera at my holidays and whatever. Again, stability is an issue, so that just is what it is, but in terms of its price and its battery life, it's pretty exceptional. It records media volume with just good enough. As you see here, this is quite a bumpy uphill sort of stretch, but yeah, the stabilisation could be a lot better. If there's one thing I'm not so perturbed about the 4K thing, but if I could have it stabilised, it would be perfect. Bit of a big lump on the side of a crash helmet, and not my favourite thing to have on the helmet because it just makes the whole thing a bit of a faff. Take the helmet off and even put it down, because it's got a sound, just as you maybe saw from the image, it's got a sound line coming out the bottom. Although it's an angled sound line, it's still a little bit vulnerable in my opinion, and certainly when you put the helmet down it tends to sit on that sound connector. So not perfect, but for I think it was £100 and something. Really, again, it's good value for money, simple sort of thing, unless you want really good footage, of course, in which case you're going to need something a bit different. But for simple stuff, messing about, and of course that glorious 8-hour battery life, this is something you can't really beat. Put it on in the morning and take off at night. So next we have the basic GoPro Hero 2017. This is sort of, I tended to sort of, I say leave this in the box, but it's just because of the awkwardness of using GoPro stuff, the batteries, the faffing around, unclip it, clip it, what do you clip it to? I don't use a chin mount. It's either on the bike. I have got a chest harness. I've also got a clip that goes on to a rucksack, but as I never wear a rucksack, I've not really used that. And again, stabilisation is better, but it's not perfect. It's got a little bit of stabilisation. to be honest, I was surprised at how good this footage was. Bolted to the handlebars of the old Honda CB750, which is a pretty bouncy machine. It's the front forks seem to lack any damping, and it seems to have handled it reasonably well. As you see here, we're sort of going through some trees as well, and it's handling the breakup of the sun to shade thing pretty good. Fails on a few things, but then that's, again, relative to the cost of the camera. It's a budget camera, so we should really call this a budget camera list, with the exception of the next footage, which is from the Hero 11. But this little thing, I've looked at this footage and I thought, oh, the right camera. Is that the Hero 11? Because it seems pretty good. Purposely went out on a sunny day, so we've got this strobing effect of shadows and light, and it's sort of come out pretty well. Well enough for me. I'm not saying it would be well enough for people who do this for a living or anything, but certainly in terms of general usage on, I'll say, well, dash cam, yeah, I suppose it would be. You could call it a dash cam because it's bolted to the front of the bike. You can just go off and ride. And to be honest, if I go to, half hour, 40 minutes, it's pretty much as good as you'll get out of it. But then that's pretty much the same with the Hero 11. Half an hour, 40 minutes, yeah, much more than that. You're on a wish and a prayer. So you've always got a packet of batteries in your pocket. It's a bit of a faff, but I suppose you could put separate power on that, but then you'd lose the waterproof thing. So I like to keep the things so they are completely waterproof. I have got a windsock, a foam windsock, which actually works really well just if you're walking around. So we go on now to the Hero 11. I must confess, having run this footage, I sort of thought, I'll go back and have a look at the settings, because I don't think it's much better than the old Hero, so maybe it's me. What is extremely noticeable is obviously stabilisation and the horizon lock thing, which makes for a slightly different experience. I'm not sure what I prefer. Some would sort of argue that this is fantastic, but the rolling around of the scenery is sort of, as you go on the bike. So sometimes I think, I'm not sure whether I like the horizon lock, or the horizon sort of feature. I think it's a horizon lock, isn't it? But generally, this is obviously the best of it. It's got a lot of functionality, most of which I have no idea what to do with, so I just tend to keep it quite simple. So that's really it. It's a comparison, but it's just a view really of what I think of them. They're all sort of got their use, but that's it for now. We'll see if we can get some better footage in the future.